Hello, and welcome to the It's Probably Fine Club. I started this club for everyone who's ever heard the words, "it's probably fine." Or maybe you've said them yourself. Maybe it was a contract, maybe it was a budget, maybe it was a medical test, maybe it was a home repair, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a single sentence in an email. Whatever it was, somebody looked at a detail that seemed small and decided, it's probably fine. And sometimes they were right. But sometimes that tiny detail turned out to matter a whole lot more than anybody expected. Now, if you're wondering why I started this channel, it's because over the course of my life, I've accumulated an unusual collection of stories. I've been a lawyer, I've been a litigator, I've taught law school, I've worked in university research administration, I've worked in biotech, I've raised 3 children, I've homeschooled, I've handled insurance claims, I've helped launch startup companies. And one thing I've learned from all of those experiences is this: the details matter far more than people think they do. In fact, that lesson shows up so often in my life that I finally decided it deserved its own club. Now, before anybody gets nervous, this isn't a channel about criticizing people. It's not a channel about being perfect, and it's definitely not a channel about saying, "look how smart I am." Quite the opposite. Many of the stories you'll hear on this channel are stories where I completely missed the most important clue, stories where I was wrong, stories where I overlooked something, stories where somebody told me something important and I didn't believe them. Because one of the things I've learned is that reality has a way of humbling us all. The best stories usually begin when something doesn't fit. A detail, a fact, a comment, a question, something small that seems insignificant at the time. Then years later, you look back and realize, oh, that wasn't a small detail at all. Some of these stories are funny, some of these are surprising, some are heartbreaking, some are about science, some are about law, some are about parenting, and some are about business. Some are about situations that escalated in ways nobody saw coming. But all of them have one thing in common: a detail that mattered more than people thought it did. So if that sounds interesting to you, welcome. You're already a member of the club. And if you have your own story where somebody said, "it's probably fine," and then it turned out not to be fine at all, leave it in the comments, because chances are you're not the only one. And who knows, your story might become a future episode. Thank you for joining me for the launch of the It's Probably Fine Club. And remember, the details matter more than people think they do. I'll see you in the next episode.